welcome back. So, as I'm sure you can tell by the title of this video, this is a very exciting one for me. Journey to baby number 2 is officially begun. I'm so excited. I can't wait for all that this will bring. I'm so excited. So, today I want to focus a little bit more on what I'm doing to help myself prepare for this pregnancy, what I'm doing differently than my first, and also what I'm doing to help myself prepare for the labor and delivery process, and what I'm doing differently than I did my first pregnancy. Now, if you haven't already watched my birth story with my son, I'll go ahead and link it up here. A lot of this will make a lot more sense if you go back and watch that first. You're going to know a little more detail about what I went through, the things I struggled with, and what has led to this different way of doing things. So, I'm going to touch on 2 different areas. I'm going to touch first on the physical aspect of my body, what I'm doing physically to help prepare, and then the mental process, what I'm doing with my mind to help emotionally and mentally, psychologically prepare for just a healthy, strong pregnancy, a good, enriching birth, positive birth, as opposed to my first birth, which was a little more dramatic. Like I said, go watch that video about my birth story and it'll make more sense. Now, with that said, I did not have any struggles emotionally connecting with my son after the birth, even though I did have some psychological struggles with anxiety. I was never diagnosed with depression, but I was diagnosed with severe postpartum anxiety and put on a regimen of like vitamins, exercise, spending time with my baby, just things to mentally help me recover and stay connected with my son. But I'm going to start this video today, before I get too off track, with physically, what I'm doing physically to help improve my chances of having a healthy pregnancy. Now, my first pregnancy was beautiful. The worst that happened was in my second trimester, I had developed slight anemia, and I had to go on an iron supplement. Not a big deal. It easily corrected, not self-correct, but at least easily corrected with that supplement, and I was able to go on to have a very healthy third trimester. So for that, I'll probably start taking iron later end of the first trimester, beginning of second, to make sure that doesn't happen. I have had my blood work done recently when I got my normal yearly physical, and right now my iron levels are perfect. I do not have anemia of any sort. I've long since recovered from that, so I don't really need to take a supplement right now. But once I'm actually into a pregnancy and into that area where I could become anemic again, I'll definitely add something in. I am currently looking for a more natural iron supplement. I just got an over-the-counter pill form at the grocery store in my first pregnancy, and I had horrible constipation. And I know it's a side effect of iron, so look more into maybe taking, getting more iron-rich vegetables in, trying to see if I find a more natural iron supplement, as opposed to just taking a pill that's going to make it hard to go poop. But in preparation for the pregnancy, I am working out more. I've started to do some prenatal workouts. I'm trying to do it 3 times a week just to get things started. It has been a while since I did regular workouts. I was working out regularly starting 8 weeks postpartum through Bruce's first birthday, trying to correct a diastasis recti and get myself back in physical shape. Like, my abs were so destroyed after giving birth the first time that I couldn't even do a sit-up. Couldn't do a crunch, couldn't do a sit-up, none of that. So I had to work really hard with a physical therapist to get my body back in shape, back healthy, once I healed from my cesarean. And after that, once I got that corrected, I kind of let it go at that point. I'd stayed generally physically active, walking around a lot. My job keeps me on my feet. But I wasn't actually, applying myself to exercising. So I've restarted that. I'm trying to do it 3 times a week, at least to start. Maybe I'll get more frequently than that as we go throughout, keep my body healthier. All pregnant women say, I want to eat healthier this time. I'm going to try my best. I do, but I'll be honest, I do not do a very good job of it. Being a working mom, out in the world, I end up with a lot of takeout. As much as I don't want to, I want to eat more vegetables, I want to eat more fruits, I end up with a lot of takeout. So I do still want to make sure I'm getting the nutrients I need. I have resumed taking my prenatal vitamin. I take a prescription one that my midwife prescribes. It's called PNV-DHA. It's a more generic version of the one the prenatal called OB Complete 1, which is really good. One of the big aspects of it is a horse pill, but one of the big aspects of it is that it has folate, not folic acid. That is so important in pregnancy. You want folate, you don't want folic acid. This pill has like magnesium, vitamin C, all the B vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin E, omega-3s, all the good stuff that you really want in pregnancy. It's what I took my whole pregnancy and post-pregnancy when I was breastfeeding my son. Throughout my whole pregnancy journey with him. Now, I will say this is expensive. This is not a cheap prenatal, but my health insurance does help me pay for it, so that helps. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it so much. If you're looking for something a little more budget-friendly, I would definitely recommend Ritual vitamins. I believe they're about $30 a bottle. They're not horse pills. From what I've told, they have like a lemon essence. They taste really good, and they're super, super natural and healthy too. But I just choose to go with what my midwife recommends, and I know is really good for me. So that is, oh, and of course, water. It is so important to drink lots of water. This is a 32-ounce water bottle I got from, I believe it was Five Below, actually. Not very much. I'll probably end up getting a different one, but I really like it. It is stainless steel, so it is better than plastic. Stainless steel or glass are always better than plastic. I've had this for years. It does, you can see, it does kind of leak a little bit, so I may end up getting another one, but I try to drink 3 or 4 of these a day. I believe 4 of them will equals a gallon. 4 of them you can get around a gallon. But I try to drink 3 to 4 a day. Don't always succeed, but I do my best. All right, so moving on to the more mental side of things. If you have watched my birth story, you do know that my birth was rather traumatic, not at all what I had planned. My birth plan started going off the rails very quickly, and I actually ended up with almost everything I said I didn't want. But I also do realize that as birth goes along, the plan can change. It's whatever is best for you and best for baby, and whatever it will take to get the baby out healthy and leave a healthy mama. So my birth plan was originally all natural. Didn't want an epidural. Definitely didn't want a C-section. And that is what I ended up with. So moving into a new season of pregnancy, a new baby, I am using a few more tools to help me be more mentally prepared for that changing plan when labor does happen. I wasn't at all. I hadn't mentally prepared. I felt my mom gave birth naturally 3 times, never had to have a C-section. I certainly never will. It's not going to be in the cards for me. I won't have an issue. It was generally my plan, which was, looking back on it, was kind of ignorant because anything can change. And now that I've been through birth once, I know that. And I know I'll be far more mentally prepared and ready for this next delivery and the ups and downs and twists and turns that having a baby can take. This first book was one that a friend recommended to me shortly after Bruce was born. I was probably about 4 or 6 weeks postpartum, and it has sat in my Amazon cart for about 18-20 months. I could never get myself to actually bite the bullet and buy it because of one word that's in the title that I just did not agree with. I'll show you the book and the name of the book, and then I'll talk about why I had such a difficulty with buying it. It's How to Heal from a Bad Birth. Word right there. I personally don't believe any birth is bad. It brings you your baby. If you come out healthy and baby comes out healthy, just because everything didn't go as you planned, I don't like the word bad. Difficult, anxious, anything like that. I consider my birth to have been difficult, traumatic, and even mentally scarring, but I just could never get myself to call it bad because it brought me my son, and I love him so much. I would go through it 100 more times if it would give me him. So I just struggled with that, with the idea of buying a book that said a bad birth. I understand where the mindset comes from on it. You know, the birth didn't go as you want. It was even traumatic. It was hard. It was incredibly painful. I can understand why you'd want to call it bad. I just personally don't like to. I haven't read through this book yet. I have skimmed through it. I've looked at some of the chapter titles, and I do believe that will be helpful. I think I could have used it more closer to when the birth happened, because it talks a lot about how you're feeling, postpartum anxiety and depression. Is it, it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel hurt. I feel isolated or alone. Issues with breastfeeding. So this feels to me more like it would have been a much far better book to have had right after he was born, but I will still look through it and see if it can still help me 2 years later. I have put so much work, so much time with a counselor into recovering from Bruce's birth and just coming to terms with everything that happened and the fact that it didn't go my way. And as far as like my physical recovery, it was beautiful. Like, I recovered so great. The pain wasn't that bad. It only lasted for like a week after the cesarean. My scar is so small, I don't even know how they got him out. My scar is like this long, like not even 2 inches, like maybe 2 inches long. It is so tiny. I don't know how they got a baby through there. I really don't. And it is so like clean and even, and you could I'm not going to try to show it to you because it has been a long time and it is super faded. Like, unless I'm looking for it, I can't even see it's there. The obstetrician did such a phenomenal job. It healed so well and so quickly that, physically I was back, I was able to start working out again at 6 weeks. I put it off to 8 weeks because I wasn't mentally in the space to be able to start working out, or I was afraid that it might still fall open. So right after you have a C-section, if you've never had one before, if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about. It kind of feels like when you stand up, everything's just gonna come spilling out. Like, you feel like you're just gaping open. It hurts. It's hard. So mentally, I hadn't got to the point where I felt safe working out. And my midwife told me that was okay. My counselor said that was okay. Take my time, get to that point where I could. So around 8 weeks, I finally felt, okay, I think I can do this now. I think I can get out there and start working out. And I was working with a physical therapist. It caused me, I had so much nausea working with him, like just churning up, because he was helping me correct a diastasis recti. Like, my abs were just mad destroyed. So it did hurt, but I got through it. So physically, I had a very easy recovery. It wasn't hard. When I look in perspective of how I see some other women have their recoveries from their cesarean, the fact that their scars can be gaping and huge and jagged, and mine's just so small and even and low, it's hardly even noticeable. But mentally, I did struggle. And mostly I struggled because I wasn't prepared to have a C-section in any way, shape, or form. So I will let you guys know after I read this book if I consider it worth reading. If you've had a difficult birth, more than likely is. It sounds like, looking over the context and reading like the reviews on the back, it sounds like a good book. So I will give it a read and let you know. So this next thing I got when I was pregnant with Bruce, with my son, but I never used it. I got it with What to Expect When You're Expecting. It is the What to Expect When You're Expecting pregnancy journal. I don't know if I'll use it in my next pregnancy. I still have it. It's completely untouched. It's completely blank and unwritten in. But what I do like about it is it has spots for day by day writing down how you're feeling, how you're doing physically, how you're doing emotionally, places to express. And I could do that in a regular journal also. And that childbirth journal part of it, talks about, I'm in pre-labor, I'm in labor, so you can record everything when it started. It does have like a contraction tracker, but I don't think I would use this. I'm pretty sure I would use an app on my phone. That's what I did with Bruce. I just used a contraction app, which seems so much easier. But yeah, so I may use this, I may not. It depends on if I have the patience to sit down and do this every week. I certainly wouldn't write it every single day unless I was feeling a particular pull too. But so we'll see. Not sure if I'm going to use that. But if not, I can just resell it and see if another woman would like to give it a shot. So when I was pregnant with Bruce, we took the Bradley method birth class. And well, the information was good. The instructor we got she was very knowledgeable, but we just we just didn't really click with her very well. So it kind of made like put a damper on the whole experience. The information was good, but I don't feel like I need to do another birth class this time, second time around. I think they pretty much only do it the first time. And my husband definitely doesn't want to do another one. He definitely got his fill of seeing babies being born. And they put you like face on in the middle of the action. And we saw a lot of that in that class. So he's like, the only other baby I want to see born is ours. So we're not going to be doing another birth class. But this was one of the options I did consider in my first pregnancy, and I definitely do want to at least read the book on it this time. It's one I've had highly recommended. Hypnobirthing. I've heard so many good things about this method. I think maybe, learning more about it, reading the book on it, and you can maybe combining it with some of the Bradley methods help me to have a more enjoyable experience. My husband was a little creeped out by the title, hypno, he's like, where they can hypnotize you to give birth. I'm like, no, I don't think so. So I haven't read it yet. This is probably going to be something I read more when I actually am pregnant, getting ready for labor and birth, things to practice, exercises to do. So I am excited to read this one this time around. I threw myself into the Bradley method the first time. I'm going to throw myself into hypnobirthing this time and just kind of work together with them and hopefully have a better birth experience, provided I am able to have a successful VBAC, which if you don't know what that is, that means vaginal birth after cesarean, which is definitely what I am targeting, what I'm hoping for. And I have wonderful midwives. I work with a great group of midwives who are all about it. Definitely all supportive of VBAC. They can attend me in the hospital. As much as I would love to try again for the birth center, which once again, go back and watch my birth story if you want to know more about that. I don't think I'll be allowed to because I did have a C-section last time. I will have to give birth in the hospital just in case of uterine rupture, which obviously we hope and pray does not happen. So this last thing that I got to kind of help, this is definitely a once I am pregnant, once I am closer to that labor phase thing, but I did consider it for my first labor, and I actually ended up making my own, which I never ended up using because when I was actually in labor, I did not feel like reading anything. But they are the Mama Natural Pregnancy Affirmation Cards. Now, there are so many different sets of affirmation cards out there. But this one came highly recommended. I did use the Mama Natural birth plan for my son. It's so cute. Instead of having to write out anything, it just uses big icons to represent what you want and a brief description underneath. It's so great. It was such an easy birth plan to put together. But once again, I was just sitting there thinking, labor's going to be a breeze. I'm built for this. I'm made for this. I won't need anything to help other than a few little handmade cards, which I did take with me and I actually do still have, but I didn't end up flipping through a ring of cards when I was in labor. I was far too much pain for that. So what I want to do with these is you use them throughout my pregnancy, 1 or 2 a day, just keep my mind positive, keep my attitude positive. But then in preparation for labor, I actually want to audio record myself reading a lot of them and put just some soft, mellow, meditative music behind that track so I can just listen to it when I'm in labor and kind of talk myself through it. But yeah, they came highly recommended. I've read a few of them. They are really great, really positive reminders. So if you believe in affirmations and just speaking positivity into future, this might be for you as well. So I will have a link to all of these things. I got them all on Amazon except for the water bottle and the vitamins, but I'll try to link a similar water bottle and a link to the Nourish by Nutrish website. So all such good things in case you're interested in using any of these. But this is kind of my plan moving into this next phase of life, this next baby journey, to keep my emotions and my mind in a clean and healthy place. However you end up delivering, if you're pregnant, or trying to get pregnant, however you end up delivering, it is beautiful. Pregnancy is beautiful. You are a strong and able mom. And if you're like me and don't like calling any birth bad, that's great. But I understand if emotionally you need that. I'm not trying to disqualify your emotions or your feelings. Whatever it is that best connects with you is what's best for you. For me, that was kind of a trigger word around the birth of my son. He is such a precious, wonderful blessing in my life. I could never consider, however hard my labor was, to have been a bad thing. You're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're a strong mom. If you end up giving birth naturally with an epidural by a cesarean, there is nothing wrong with that. It's whatever works best for you and your baby in your time of life. Going into this next pregnancy, I am definitely still hoping for a natural birth that I didn't get the first time. But with that, I am far more open to things like the epidural or talking about a cesarean should it get to that point. But if it gets to that point where I'm on Pitocin again and I do need help, I will, I have no problem working hard through contractions. But if I do get to the point where I am truly suffering, I will call an end to it, get the pain relief I need to power through and have the strength to deliver. Of course, praying over this baby, this future pregnancy, praying all the good things, continue to pray. That is probably my strongest ally. All these things are great. All these things are wonderful. But prayer and meditative time with God, connecting with this baby, I think will be the most powerful things to help me face whatever may come at the end of it. So I'm so excited to start this journey with you. If you're on it with me, you want to follow along, click like, subscribe to my channel. You're wonderful. You're a beautiful mom. Love you so much. See you in the next one.